It's Edinburgh Comedy Fest live. Please welcome your host, Shappi Khorsandi.
Hello! Wow, what a beautiful room. You all good? I'm doing a show here, and it's kind of strange because I'm doing a show where some people come to my show with certain expectations of me. A bloke came to my show, the entire time he sat there like this. And at the end he came up to me and he went, I thought you was Shappi. I paid for Shappi. I get that, and Maureen Lipman. It's been a strange year for me because this year I've been mostly getting a divorce, so I know, it's very time consuming. When you get divorced, the worst thing is you don't know how to tell people. You can't go, look, we've taken them off. We're both very bitter now. So I've only told my closest friends and you. And I joke about this, but it's true. I believe the iPhone played a massive part in the breakdown of my marriage. Because the moment my husband brought that skinny cow into my house, things were over between us. And she would lord it over me and go, you know, when he's with you, he's thinking of me. And I was like, shut up, he loves me. But during sex one night, he started doing this to my face. I've been a bit disconnected with stuff that's been going on this year, but I know we had an election. Did you enjoy the election? Oh, come on, it was better than the football. I knew there was an election because people kept coming to my door going, so, what do you think about immigration? And I'd go, well, I'm really enjoying it, thank you. And in the lead up to the election, I did Question Time, which is the scariest thing I've ever done in my career. But what was lovely about it was realising that David Dimbleby is as obsessed with political correctness as I am, because he took a question from the floor and he went, yes, gentleman there in the blue. 10 gentlemen in blue kept their hand up. There's no gentleman there in the blue with the eyes set in a face, resting on a neck, on some shoulders. I believe I'll just say it, David. Say it. The man in a turban. But another thing I did this year, I got a cat. And apparently it's quite a common thing to get a pet when you're recently separated to fill in the void. And I love my cat so much, and we're really in tune with each other. I was on the phone to my ex-husband recently, and we had a furious row, and I slammed the phone down, and I looked at my cat, and she was licking herself, and I knew we were thinking the same thing. What an arsehole. I wanted to get a goldfish, but there's something morally wrong about buying goldfish, because there's that tank full of them, and they put the net in the tank, and they pick a fish out at random, and you don't know what family dynamic you're destroying there. I kind of felt like Madonna, you know. When you've got a pet that you love, it's really important not to treat the pet exactly as you do your child, because I've noticed that when I throw the boy over the banisters, he doesn't always land on his feet. You're a brilliant crowd. Are you ready for your first act? It is my absolute great pleasure to introduce to you someone that I've loved for years and years and years, Australia's most positive and brilliant export to this country. Give it up for Mr. Adam Hills.
Hello, Edinburgh. I want to tell you something right now that you may find vaguely offensive, but go with me. I have learnt recently that deaf people are really racist. Oh, that's right. I'm not afraid to say it out loud. The reason I do a lot of shows with sign interpreters so that deaf people can come to my shows, and I've learnt that there are various signs for different countries, some of which make perfect sense, but some of which seem to me to be vaguely offensive. I'll give an example of what I mean. The British Sign Language sign for your country, Scotland, it makes perfect sense, it's this. And you have to do the face as well. And it's a Scottish man playing the bagpipes, I think, or it's a Glaswegian man in a pub going, "Don't drink, I'll buy you a drink. Come on, I'll get a drink." Some others that may not make sense but are quite lovely. Iceland, in single-handed signing, that's the letter I, so Iceland is this, which is lovely, but it makes everyone from Iceland look slightly evil. Here's where it gets vaguely confusing. This is the English Sign Language, or British Sign Language sign for England. Because it's the letter E, no other reason. What's weird, though, is if you're outside of England, in another country that has a different language or a different alphabet, you can't do that. What you can do to represent England is this. Why? Because it's the strap on a Bobby's helmet. Which is lovely, but confusing, because I'm not making this up. This is England. This is lesbian. I think you can work out why. England, lesbian. England, lesbian. You don't want to get those two mixed up. You don't want to go out to a nightclub, pick up two girls, take them home, then find out they're both English. Here's where it starts getting vaguely offensive. The British Sign Language sign for Ireland is this. Now, if you ask an English person why, they say, oh, it's the shamrock. There's a shamrock in my lapel and it's sticking out like that. That's what that is. No, it's not. That is English people going, oh. Oh, dear Lord, there seem to be Irish people on me. This is the one that got me, though. The British Sign Language sign for my country, Australia, which is also the sign we use to represent Australia in Australia, is this. It's not that. There aren't deaf people around the world from Australia. People go, where are you from? They go, oh, God, I need a microphone. Sign language sign for Australia in British Sign Language is this. That's just offensive. That's English people going, we picked the dirty scum up and we've put them over there. If you're going to make a sign for Australia, at least make it vaguely Australian and something like... What's amazing, though, is my favourite piece of sign language in the world comes from Australia, because every country has its own sign language. And in Australia, there's a specific sign that is only used in Australian Sign Language, because it sums up a phrase that is only used in the Australian spoken language. The sign is this. And what that sign means is, fuck you, fuck the lot of yous. And now what I love about that sign is that I was on a plane in Australia last year. I was flying from Adelaide to Melbourne and a stewardess recognised me and said, oh, I've seen you do comedy. Oh, all right. She said, I really like the stuff you do about sign language. So, oh, thank you. She said, in fact, I've managed to incorporate a bit of it into the safety demonstration. I've never watched the safety demonstration more carefully in my life. And she did the whole thing. A row of lights are here and oxygen if you need it. And at the appropriate point, I swear she did this. And in case of an emergency, your exits are here and here. And I saw her a few months later out on the street. She walked past me. I went, oh, hi. She went, oh, hi. And I went, oh, my God, it's you. I tell that story every night on stage. She said, good, because I do that on every flight. And then said, although I do make sure there aren't deaf people on board first. Can you imagine that? You're deaf, you sit on a flight, and what you see as the safety demonstration is, in case of an emergency, fuck you, fucked a lot of you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for supporting a great cause. Good night.
Exotic. Yes, it's from Scotland. Please give it up for Edinburgh's own Danny Boy.
Hello, how are you all? Are you enjoying your festival? Some of you. The rest of you clearly from Edinburgh. So do Chinese people get English tattoos? Does it work the other way around? I don't know. Guy in Beijing with, mind the gap on his, it's spiritual. No, it's spiritual. It means something big. I don't know, but it's... According to the World Health Organization, or as they're known in Glasgow, WHO, according to the World Health Organization, we now have the worst diet in the world in Scotland. The worst diet in the world! In the world! I think you can tell a lot about a country from its diet, right? You look at our breakfast in Scotland, right? Bacon, sausage, eggs, beans, chips, burgers, crisps. Bring out your dead, we'll have it. As long as it's deep fried, we don't give a shit. It's a message. We're sending a message to the rest of the world. Doesn't matter what you plan to do to us today, it's not nearly as bad as what we've just done to ourselves. There you go. In France, of course, the French have a croissant. Yes, a little croissant. Yeah. That is all I want, a little croissant. And then I will be quite full. I will have to lie down after my little croissant. It's not a breakfast, it's a bit of pastry. We put that on top of a steak pie. Hey? Says a lot about the French, though, doesn't it? The old croissant says, we are flaky and a little bit gay. That is who we are. That is who we are. That is who we are. The Spanish just have yogurt for breakfast. I suppose you don't want anything too heavy if you're off to bed in a couple of hours. I love the siesta. Why didn't we think about that? That's a great... I love the fact the Spanish have followed the natural body clock during the day. We're all tired after lunch. Some point in history, the Spanish have been in a board meeting. One guy's just gone... Hey, Sebastian. Are you tired? Yes, very tired, Franco. Very tired. Sorry. Sorry to interrupt. How many people are tired? We're all tired. Let's go to bed, huh? 1 hour, 2 hours, 2 hours. Just as well we don't have a siesta in Scotland, actually. We'd have to get up and have another one of those breakfasts. We'd be dead by the age of 21. That's my time. Thank you very much for listening tonight.
Someone who will be very familiar to you if you watch television, and even more familiar to you if you go and see live comedy, because he's an inspiration to many stand-up comedians. Please give it up for the inimitable Mr. Sean Locke.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good evening. Hello, Edinburgh. Nice to be here. I've got the plane up today. Yeah. As you can see, they forgot my luggage. Someone said to me, why didn't you get the train? And I said, well, I wouldn't be able to do that joke. They said, well, it's not a very good joke. I said, you haven't heard the next one. And they said, well, go on, do it then. I said, well, I'm not doing a gig. And they said, well, why were you doing the other one? I said, well, I was just talking to myself in the toilet. Who are you? It's a bit awkward. Anyway, my wife is so fat. She hates herself and sits in the room crying all day long. Oh dear, lovely, isn't it? Charming. What is it about bunting that makes you want to buy a second-hand car? Never worked on it. Do you know that if a man masturbates twice a week, it reduces his chance of getting prostate cancer? That's true, that is. I've tallied up my weekly count, and I'm immortal. I'm like Highlander. You know those stretch limos? Those stretch limos? If they're so great, right, how come every time I drive past one, someone's trying to climb out the window? I was very naive. The first time I saw one of those, I was very naive. I was a bit puzzled. I said, that's weird. What's the ambassador doing